we didn't figure things out and become friends and band together like we have.
He was always more concerned about how things looked than how things were, wasn't he? The manicured smiles, the carefully posed family portraits. The illusions of control and togetherness. Kody Brown spent years curating an image so polished that even he began to believe it. And in doing so, he lost track of what truly mattered. The raw, painful, unfiltered truth living behind closed doors, especially in Christine's heart. He forgot that appearances fade, but scars remain. And that became painfully clear when, during what insiders now call a heated virtual confrontation, Kody allegedly tried to silence Christina, but this time not within their home, but on a Zoom call with her publisher, Gallery Books. No less. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Kody joined the call uninvited, bringing legal counsel with him and demanding that an entire chapter be removed from Christine's forthcoming memoir chapter. Reportedly, that captured the full emotional and financial meltdown that had driven a permanent wedge between them. Kody, flustered and visibly shaking through the webcam, allegedly insisted that this section be scrubbed from the manuscript, citing character defamation and family protection. But Christine, strong, composed, and resolved, refused. "My truth remains," she said calmly, the same quiet but determined tone fans of Sister Wives have come to recognize over the years. As Kody's voice rose, allegedly shouting about loyalty, betrayal, and the weight of family burdens, Christine didn't flinch. Standing slightly off-screen was her husband, David, who allegedly placed a binder color-coded and labeled down the desk beside her. Insiders tell Starspill USA that the binder contained receipts, drafts, emails, and a meticulously constructed timeline, not fiction, not drama. Proof. Christine later admitted, "I didn't realize how weird it would feel to say it out loud. But my life was entirely consumed by what Kody needed, what he wanted, what the family demanded of me." That now infamous chapter, which Kody fought so hard to bury, reportedly describes a moment in which he asked Christine to hand over $100,000, framing it as a family emergency, only for her to discover later that the funds were allegedly used to cover Robyn's personal debts, not collective family needs. The moment she refused to comply, the shouting began, the name-calling, the threats. But what Kody didn't understand was that this was Christine's breaking point, perhaps her awakening. And in trying to suppress it, he set off a chain reaction that not even TLC producers could have scripted. Within hours of the call, a mysterious Instagram account posted a cryptic quote that fans instantly recognized. He called the cash an act of loyalty. "I called it the price of my silence." No name, no image, no context, but everyone knew. Starspill USA quickly picked up the story, and the fandom erupted. Reddit threads, Twitter reposts, and Facebook sleuths began circulating rumors of the deleted chapter and the $100,000 bombshell. Some claimed this wasn't just a moral betrayal, it had legal consequences. Because if, as court documents later revealed, Christine filed a September 2024 custody petition for her daughter, truly, and requested retroactive support while Kody was demanding money from her. The optics and implications were damning. That money, insiders say, was being framed by Kody as necessary to protect the family image. But Christine saw it for what it was, a last-ditch effort to keep her under control. And she was done being controlled. "I lived for his image," she reportedly told friends. "Now I live for mine." Legal sources close to the case have confirmed that Christine's team had anticipated Kody's threats for months. That pivotal chapter, now nicknamed The Cost of Silence, had already been legally vetted, backed by screenshots, Venmo logs, emails, and even photos of handwritten payment records. Every accusation was timestamped, every incident corroborated. Gallery Books, despite Kody's attempts to intimidate, refused to comment, but insiders claim they're standing firm because they know Christine's not bluffing. This isn't hearsay. It's history, documented, archived, sealed, and perhaps most damning of all, the flagged transaction, $100,000 allegedly drawn from the Old Family LLC, an account Kody had executive control over, but Christine no longer had access to following her move to Utah. That money, sources say, was pulled without her knowledge and used to pay debts tied directly to Robyn's Arizona mansion. Not family bills, not shared responsibilities, Robyn's lifestyle. And it doesn't stop there. Star Spill USA has received exclusive insider commentary claiming that when Christine confronted Kody, he didn't deny the transfer. He simply told her to trust him to fix it. But after everything, after years of emotional gaslighting, spiritual manipulation, and public humiliation, that trust was gone. Christine allegedly began journaling that same night, first in a spiral notebook labeled Timeline, then in a Word document, which ultimately became the blueprint for her memoir. That document, now under fierce legal scrutiny, outlines exactly how Kody misused family resources while Christine and the children struggled in silence. The document even includes references to a season 17 scene 1 that still chills viewers when Kody declared on camera, "I'm the head of this family, and I need it to be that way again." That moment, which aired shortly after Christine's public departure, now reads like an omen. The patriarchy wasn't just Kody's dream, it was his strategy and money. That was the final lever. When Christine left with Truly and moved to Utah, Kody didn't just lose a wife. He lost control of a narrative he'd spent years constructing. And now, that narrative is unraveling. Fans are starting to see the cracks. TLC's edit may have painted him as a man desperate to keep his family together, but Christine's version tells a different story, a tale of disproportionate sacrifice, of asking for obedience instead of love, and of money being used as a chain to keep women tethered to a man who never saw their worth beyond what they could give him. And it gets worse. Sources close to the production say Kody's current attempts to stop publication aren't about damage control, they're about fear. Fear that the full financial truth will shatter the legacy he tried to protect. Fear that viewers will finally connect the dots between Robyn's sudden financial security and the emotional collapse of every other wife. Fear that the TLC audience's audience will finally understand why Christine, Janelle, and Mary walked away, and why Christine's memoir, when released, may not just break records, but break illusions. Already, Star Spill USA has learned that Gallery Books is preparing for a marketing storm. Publicists are leaning into the drama, hoping the viral nature of the Instagram leaks continues. Some rumors even suggest that Christine's team is prepping a digital appendix, one that will include redacted receipts and family texts for readers who pre-order. And while Kody's legal team continues to lob Sesandis' letters, Christine's resolve remains unchanged. "I lived quiet for too long," she allegedly told a friend. "It's time they hear me now." More shockingly, it appears that the lawsuit Christine filed in September not only asked for custody clarification, but also sought to establish paternity for Truly, claiming Kody had never signed the birth certificate. Why now? Insiders suggest the timing aligns with the $100,000 demand. Christine may have realized that Kody wanted the rights of a father without the responsibilities. And when he tried to take from her again, that was it. Cut the cord permanently. Fans have noticed a shift in her social media. Gone are the careful posts, the polite captions. Instead, Christine's voice now echoes with unfiltered power. TikToks of her baking with Truly and laughing with David are layered with trending audio about survival, rebirth, and freedom. She's not just healing, she's evolving. And as Kody continues to scramble, what he fails to understand is this: he didn't bury the chapter, he gave it teeth. It's not just a page in a book anymore, it's a rallying cry. In fact, whispers are growing louder that TLC producers are re-editing certain upcoming specials in light of what's about to be exposed. The idea that Christine was simply hurt is being replaced with the idea that she was strategically oppressed. And as more receipts trickle in, receipts that Star Spill USA is working to verify, becomes clearer that this memoir is no longer just Christine's story. It's the reckoning of a system that Kody built and broke. Mary, Janelle, and even some of the older Brown children are reportedly following Christine's lead quietly. Sources claim private group chats now include legal advisors. Not everyone's ready to speak, but the dam is cracking. And once Christine's book drops, the flood will come. Because the truth is, the chapter Kody tried to kill is the one that will finally set everyone free. Everyone free.
And none of the other kids could. I basically wrote down the rules that we have for our nanny.
Well, okay, so basically then, Kody, I don't think it's going to ever work for us all to get together.
Kody Brown's reported cease and desist letters may have made headlines. But legal experts we consulted tell Star Spill USA that unless Kody can demonstrate actual defamation or a clear breach of contract, his legal arsenal may be more bark than bite. Still, that hasn't stopped him from trying to wield what power he thinks remains, according to multiple sources familiar with the situation. Kody is now reportedly considering filing a motion to suppress an entire chapter of Christine's upcoming memoir, citing pending child support litigation as leverage. And just like that, the battlefield shifts, no longer confined to TV confessionals or Instagram posts, but now unfolding in courtrooms where the stakes are far greater and the scrutiny far sharper. Legal insiders suggest that Christine's side may counter with a powerful narrative of their own that the $100,000 financial dispute, the centerpiece of the contested chapter, directly impacted both her and daughter Truly's standard of living. If successful, this would reframe the issue not as a personal vendetta, but as a vital thread in a broader custody and financial support story. And this could have massive implications, not just for the book, but for how Kody is publicly and legally perceived moving forward. And then there's Truly. Christine's youngest daughter has long been kept out of the family's more public battles, shielded from the swirling media storm that has consumed the Brown legacy. But that protective bubble, carefully maintained for years, is beginning to show signs of wear. Ever since Christine filed for retroactive child support and formal paternity recognition in late 2024, Kody has reportedly grown increasingly uncomfortable. Sources tell Star Spill USA that the court's renewed focus on his absenteeism, both financial and emotional, has sparked deep concern within his inner circles, of whom fear a full unraveling of his carefully managed image. The tension came to a quiet but unmistakable head recently when Christine posted a seemingly innocent Instagram photo. Truly, now 15, smiling at Big Rock Candy Mountain alongside David, Christine's new husband. Fans weren't just taken by how much she'd grown, they were struck by the peace in her face. One commenter wrote, "She looks so confident, so loved, it's like you can feel the calm in her expression." Another added, "She's blossomed with you and David." It's written all over her smile, while the caption, "Give me a silly. Roadside, stop, good snacks, and my people. And I'm all in." Felt lighthearted, the subtext hit deep. For many longtime viewers, the post wasn't just a slice of domestic joy, was a subtle mic drop. A reminder of who was present, and more powerfully, of who wasn't. What Kody might not have expected is how this renewed attention on Truly is becoming a public referendum, not just on his parenting, but on his priorities. According to sources close to the manuscript, any mention of Truly in the memoir was handled with extreme care, both emotionally and legally. Christine's legal team reportedly consulted child development experts and family law attorneys to ensure the content wasn't exploitative or inflammatory, but rather grounded in lived experience. There would be no direct mudslinging, no accusations hurled for drama's sake, just a mother's truth, anchored by documentation, memory, and the ache of loss. Still, The chapter Kody reportedly wants removed, the one centered on the alleged $100,000 demand, remains a thorn in his side. Christine is said to argue that omitting it would strip the family's story of crucial context. Her team believes it's not simply about money, but about control, about the ways in which finances were allegedly weaponized to maintain power in a crumbling household. And when that household finally fractured, Christine began to see just how deep the manipulation ran. She began keeping notes, logs, emails, Venmo receipts. Her memoir isn't built on emotion alone. It's scaffolded by facts. But as publication day draws closer, September 2025, to be exact, the behind-the-scenes drama is intensifying. Several insiders now allege that Kody, fearing the blowback from the memoir's release, has floated a secret proposal, an off-the-record settlement. The deal, they claim, would involve a lump sum payment placed into Truly's college fund, an overture cloaked in paternal concern but rumored to come with strings attached. Those strings reportedly include a legally binding non-disclosure agreement and a request that Christine amend or omit any content referencing the financial scandal, or Kody's alleged misappropriation of family funds. At first glance, the offer might seem reasonably even generous, but sources close to Christine saw it differently. It was a pressure play, plain and simple. One insider tells Starspill USA he underestimated how far Christine has come. This memoir isn't just catharsis, it's a commitment. And Christine's reported reply, just 3 words: "My truth stays." Very day, Christine posted a casual Instagram reel dancing with David in the kitchen while flipping pancakes. To the casual viewer, it was a feel-good moment. But to those tracking the timeline, it felt like a coded victory lap. Not gloating, not petty. Just steady, confident, unbothered. Meanwhile, Kody's legal team has allegedly ramped up efforts behind the scenes. One insider claims he's now exploring the possibility of a preemptive injunction, a legal attempt to block promotional interviews or book release events on grounds of family privacy. But according to publishing sources, Christine's team has already anticipated such a move. Every allegation in the book has been cross-verified, backed by time-stamped emails, financial statements, and at least 3 independent affidavits. The bar for libel, especially in matters involving public figures and personal memoirs, is exceedingly high. And Kody, despite his growing list of grievances, may find himself legally and reputationally cornered. What he may also not realize is how public sentiment has shifted. Once the patriarch of a large and loyal fan base, Kody's credibility has eroded under the weight of his own contradictions. His defense strategies, once confident and charismatic, now appear increasingly reactionary, even desperate. Christine, by contrast, has emerged as a woman transformed. Her social media is no longer filtered through the lens of damage control, but rather empowerment. Viewers aren't just rooting for her, they're seeing themselves in her story. That may be what worries Kody most. Because if this chapter is allowed to be published, it won't just be Christine's memoir. It will be a cultural mirror, reflecting what happens when silence is demanded, but truth refuses to be buried. It will expose not just a failed marriage, but an entire dynamic that kept women voiceless, obedient, and financially dependent. Already, Reddit forums and Facebook groups have lit up with speculation. Some sleuths claim the chapter in question details multiple bank transfers between the now-defunct family LLC and private accounts tied to Robyn's expenditures. Others believe the manuscript includes excerpts from a private family group chat, where Christine expressed financial concern, leading to be met with alleged dismissal by Kody. None of this has been officially confirmed. But the rumor mill is working, over time, even more explosive. Insiders hint at a backup clause. If legal attempts are made to block the book's release, Christine may pursue a televised special with a major streaming network. Netflix and Hulu are rumored contenders. Such a move would potentially sidestep print restrictions and allow her to tell her story in full, uncensored form. As one source put it, you can't shut down every platform. In the end, Christine seems poised not only to reclaim her voice, but to amplify it. With each day that passes, the memoir inches closer to reality, and the house of cards Kody built seems one step closer to collapse. Whether he tries to buy silence or litigate it into oblivion, the truth appears ready to stand on its own. And, if Christine has her way, when the memoir finally hits shelves this fall, readers won't just be turning pages, they'll be turning tides.
For us not to get in the way, say anything, say goodbye or anything like that. I was just gonna stay out of the way.
The silence that followed Robyn's departure wasn't just the absence of footsteps echoing. Through an oversized Flagstaff mansionette was the chilling quiet of an empire unraveling. A once celebrated polygamous dynasty decaying in real time. Kody sat there, not as a husband or patriarch, but as a man stripped of illusion, unraveling under the weight of his own decisions and the rubble of trust he helped destroy. The mansion's lavish silence screamed louder than any argument because it was filled with abandonment, betrayal, and undeniable truth. What began as a tight-knit dream of celestial union had decayed into something darker, transactional, and deep, disturbingly empty. Robyn's tears, her rushed exit, and the sudden vacuum left behind forced Kody to confront a truth he'd avoided for far too long. There was no family left to save, no loyalty that wasn't bought or bruised, no legacy that wasn't rotting from the inside. And for once, there was no one left to blame but himself. The financial trail that once felt like a necessity for survival now glared at him like evidence at a crime scene one he orchestrated. Knowingly or not, what he called sacrifice was now being questioned as manipulation. With Mary publicly questioning the paper trail and Janelle quietly aligning her sons with her own narrative of independence, Kody could feel the walls closing in, not metaphorically, but legally, morally, and reputationally. This wasn't just about Robyn anymore. This was about years of unchecked power, of favoritism wrapped in scripture, of gaslighting under the guise of leadership. This was about weaponized silence and spiritual coercion, the kind that tore families apart while pretending to build kingdoms. The media wasn't buying the misunderstanding angle. They were picking apart documents, comparing timelines, noting discrepancies in property ownership and tax filings. Questions were being raised loudly, legally. Why was Robyn's name the only one on that $1 million home? Why were there overlapping dates of withdrawals and real estate transactions that conflicted with what Kody had claimed on national TV? Where did the shared family fund really go? Why were Christine and Janelle footing their own bills while Robyn's kids had private tutors? iPads, luxury clothing, and endless amenities funded by a pool of money meant to support everyone equally. The tell-all fallout wasn't a storyline. Anymore, it was evidence. Evidence that Kody never really intended equality, just the appearance of it. Starspill USA reported that multiple former crew members, under condition of anonymity, had leaked receipts and off-camera arguments moments where Kody allegedly demanded edits to protect Robyn's image, or threatened to walk off unless his narrative remained intact. Some even described scenes where producers were told to tone down Christine's independence arc or diminish Janelle's financial frustrations. TLC's silence grew suspicious. Was the network complicit or just desperate to hold on to the last profitable storyline left in the rubble of the Brown family saga? Behind the scenes, it looked less like a documentary and more like a cover-up. Meanwhile, fans began cross-referencing footage with public records, creating timelines that exposed glaring inconsistencies Kody never thought anyone would notice. Janelle's quiet dignity now looked like strength. Christine's laughter, freedom. Even Mary's cryptic Instagram posts were now being decoded by fans as thinly veiled truths. Breadcrumb trails of a woman who'd finally found the courage to leave the shadows. Viewers who once saw them as passive wives now applauded their strength, their reclaiming of identity, and their ability to walk away from a system that had failed them. Leon's distancing from the family, Garrison's raw grief, and the sisters' growing closeness all painted a picture of a family that was no longer fractured but healing without him. Meanwhile, Kody found himself alone, not just emotionally but legally exposed. With rumors of civil suits, potential tax audits, and even a quiet federal inquiry gaining traction online. The patriarch, once celebrated for juggling for households, now couldn't manage a single defense without contradicting his previous statements. His televised confidence was being dismantled frame by frame, transcript by transcript, as online sleuths and legal analysts joined forces to expose the contradictions. The man who once controlled the narrative was now the subject of it. The third act wasn't redemption, it was reckoning. This wasn't the man who'd fix it all. This was the man who let it fall apart. Okay? And as the online community dissected every frame, every quote, every financial record, the question wasn't whether the truth would come out. It was how much damage it would leave in its wake. Because when the curtain finally falls on this reality TV tragedy, it won't be Kody's voice we remember. It'll be the women who dared to walk away and the empire he never thought they'd leave behind. Starspell USA will continue covering every twist, every document leak, every shift in the narrative, because the Brown family's truth isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a cultural reckoning. What once was sold as a story of love and faith has now become a case study in control, loss, and liberation. And the voices once silenced are now echoing louder than ever.